Today we'll be looking at partitioning. Partitioning means splitting numbers up into their places. So when we look at the number 6,452, we might be asked how many hundreds and how many ones. To do this, step one involves finding the hundreds place. So I go to my number, I look at the ones, look at the tens, my hundreds place is where the 4 is. So I have a 4 in the hundreds place. After I've found the hundreds place, I then want to split the hundreds from the rest of the number. So I can take my pen and I can put a line between the hundreds and the tens. That splits the number up into the hundreds part and the ones part. I now have to record how many hundreds and how many ones. I go to my number and I look at the part before the split, because that tells me how many hundreds. I've got 64 hundreds, and I write down 64 hundreds. I look at the part after the split, and that tells me how many ones. I've got 52. I've got 52 ones. So 6,452 is 64 hundreds and 52 ones. The final thing I'm going to do now is write that down as an expression. That's going to be my partition. So I look at the 64 hundreds, and I know that 64 hundreds has 2 zeros, because hundreds means it's got 2 zeros after the hundreds place. So 64 hundreds is 6,400 or 6400, and 52 ones is just written down as 52. So 6,452 can be broken up into 64 hundreds and 52 ones, or it can be broken up into 6,400 plus 52. Let's try some examples together now. Let's look at the number 5,672. The question's asking me how many hundreds and how many ones. So the first thing I do is I find my hundreds place. My ones, my tens, my hundreds. So I find my hundreds place. I then split the number between the hundreds and the ones. So I split the number between the hundreds and the ones. I can now write down how many hundreds. I've got 5,600. And how many ones? I've got 72 ones. So one way of partitioning the number 5,672 is 56 hundreds and 72 ones. I can write that down as an expression. It is 5,600, which is 5,600 plus 72. Let's try the next one, 3,905. Again, it's asking me how many hundreds and how many ones. First thing I do is find the hundreds place. Once I've found the hundreds place, I split the hundreds from the rest of the number. I can now write down how many hundreds. I've got 39. I've got 39 hundreds, and of course I've got 5 ones. I can then write that down as an expression. 3,900 is 39 and 2 zeros to show that it's hundreds. 3,900 is 3,900 plus 5 ones. So there's my partition. 3,905 can be partitioned into 3,905. Let's try some different examples. I can also break a number up into 3 places. In this example, I'm being asked to break the number 5,672 up into hundreds, tens, and ones. The first thing I do is I find the hundreds place. I then split the number between the hundreds and the tens. I can now write down how many hundreds. I've got 5,600. I then need to find the tens place. And I split the number between the tens and the ones. I can see I've got 7 tens. And finally, I'm left with 2 ones. I can now record that partition as an expression. I look at the first part, 5,600, and I write down 56, and I put in 2 zeros to show that it's in the hundreds place. 5,600 is the same as 5,600. I then look at my tens. I've got 7 tens. To show that it's in the tens place, I put a 0 on the end of it. And finally, I write down my 2 ones. So you can see my partition for 5,672 is 5,600 plus 70 plus 2. In our last example, we're being asked to partition 15,672 into thousands, hundreds, and ones. First thing I do is I find my thousands place, and I split the number between the thousands and the hundreds. I write down that I've got 15 thousands. I now need to find my hundreds place, and I split my hundreds off from the rest of the number. I record that I've got 6 hundreds, and that leaves me with 72 ones. I can now write that down as an expression. 15,000 is 15 with 3 zeros. I put in 3 zeros to show that it's thousands. 600, I write down the 6 and put in 2 zeros to show that it's hundreds, and I then record my 72 ones. So my partition for 15,672 is 15,000 plus 600 plus 72. Hope that helps, boys and girls. Happy maths. Catch you next time. Over and out.